Welcome to episode 9 of Beneath the Kotatsu. Once again, it's James with my co-host on.
Hello, everyone. Ohio. That's a state and a greeting in Japan.
so, so this week we're going to talk about some OG Isekai action. An actually recommended me Isekai no Seikishi no Monogatari. In English, it's known as Tenchi Muyo War on Geminar.
Which is a
Actually,
horrible
super
name.
horrible. There's not much of a war going on. They just cram it in at the end of the show. But anyways, I really enjoyed mostly the slice of life aspects of the show, and the action was meh for me. So
Meh.
for that reason, overall, I would give it a 7.2 out of 10. What would you rate it for yourself?
My rating for this anime, I, you know what? I think I have those like beer glasses because I only remember the good parts of the anime, so I'm gonna give it like a 9.
That's definitely way too high for my personal taste, to be honest with you.
I
Uh,
bet you if I asked you like in like 2 years, hey, what would you give Seikishi? The only thing that's gonna come to your head is the good part, and you're gonna give it a higher score. Because in my head, all the crappy parts are removed, and all I see is the good stuff.
yeah, I don't blame you. The good parts were really good.
Right?
Yeah,
Um.
and keep in mind, this is us watching the show, not knowing anything about Tenchi Muyo. Like we didn't watch any of the original series, none of the sequels. We just watched this one OVA.
Right. Yeah. And if you didn't know, Isekai no Seikishi Monogatari is a spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off. So this is like a really weird OVA that's kind of in its own little bubble. Um, and the thing is that you can watch it without knowing anything about the original Tenchi Muyo. But I did feel like when I was watching it, a lot of the stuff they were talking about made no sense to me. But the for the slice of life stuff, you don't really need to know any of that. I'm just there. I'm that little baby you put in front of the TV just so he can watch the lights dancing back and forth. And
Yeah. Oh, Thomas the Tank Engine. Clap, clap, clap. Mom, look, it's funny. Yeah, honey, I see Kenshi's on a train, which there is one in the show. Uh,
Yeah.
and I did just, as probably light background for this show. If you have seen Tenchi Muyo or something like that, he's like the youngest member of the Tenchi Muyo clan, uh, and his mother is actually from the world of Geminar. His dad's from Earth. They sent him over there because, and I didn't find this out till I saw an OVA the other day. The Crunchyroll, it was like released last year around September, July. Uh, they sent him to this world because his mother was like, I guess they can't be together in the same area because the mom is gonna die if they are. It's really weird. They didn't really explain it to me. Like I said, we didn't really watch Tenchi Muyo, so we don't really know
None of this
uh,
makes sense.
the
Right.
DNA of their bodies or whatnot. And so they really just trained him up. They gave him the best possible nutrition, the best possible uh, education, and keep in mind he's being, you know, educated, and
Well, I
his
would say that
nutrition plan is by aliens.
yeah. When you're going into this anime, you don't know any of that. I think that's what
No, you never
surprises
even
you.
know this.
Yeah. I think that's what caught me so off guard is that like, whoa, this is Kenchi's badass. Like he's the embodiment of like humble. Like he's so humble, but he's also like the OP humble.
Right? Like
He's
he's like an original samurai type,
he's fantastic.
like with
Uh,
Samurai 7 or something like that.
right. Quick question regarding the OVA from last year. When you say last year, are you talking about 2020 or 2019?
2020.
Oh, so it's very recent then.
Yeah,
Like
I'd have to pull it up to see
like
the
like a
exact
couple months
date.
ago. Literally a couple
Yeah,
months ago.
yeah.
Wow.
I
I
don't
actually need
know
to
if
watch it
this
then.
is like people were saying this was like a new thing just from the comments. They're talking about, oh, it's so good to see these uh characters after such a long time. It's like seeing, old people you haven't seen for a long time, old friends.
It's
Uh,
like if they made like a spin off of
yeah,
like Yu Yu Hakusho or something like that.
and just by the sounds of like random stuff I read, it sounds like maybe they want to make a second War on Geminar. I'm not sure. It hasn't happened. I would be
I
happy for
am
more
so down. I would love it. I
because
would love a second one.
from everything I read, it sounded like there's supposed to be more, but I don't know. Maybe it just didn't hit it off as much as they wanted to. Maybe in the future, because this was like a what was it, a pay-per-view release once every month for like a year and a month, something like that.
Yeah, I okay. So I think the big thing if they want to do like a second thing of Geminar is that one, this anime had some crazy good animation, like crazy good for
Well, yeah,
like
it was a pay-per-view, right?
I mean for being back in
That's what
like
I read at least.
2009, yeah, like for
2010,
being uh it's
it
2009 to 2010s. No, it aired on
correct.
2009 and it finished
Yeah,
2010. So
right there we go. A year and a day, a
yeah,
year and a month.
so basically this anime had some crazy good animation. I would be like I could easily compare it to like animation to this day. It's probably better than some animations like some animes you see this day. um like also each episode is an hour long, which is ridiculous. And when I say like an hour, like they don't even fit
Well, it's
like many.
45 minutes, really.
I mean
It
you could
feels
say,
like an hour though. Like
I
it's
mean you
like the
could
Mandalorian
right.
episodes or a Game of Thrones episode.
Right, but I mean, when an anime is like 45 minutes long, that's technically an hour if you fit in commercials. Like with regular anime, they're only 22 minutes max or something like that.
Yeah.
22,
Well, I
23.
don't think on a pay-per-view though you have commercials. Though it was just 45 minutes. Maybe they had like an intermission or something like that. I'm not sure how it
Mm,
aired. It was so long ago.
yeah, but I mean like 45 minutes. I mean that's still technically an hour, right? Like to TV standards.
Yeah, I'd
Um,
say so.
yeah, and the thing about this anime is that it's like even though it's an hour, they you really feel like you still feel like you're not getting enough with this hour because they pack so much stuff into it. It's so enjoyable. Like, do you know what I'm talking about when you see like an anime that's 30 minutes long, but they drag it out perfectly. Like they set it up perfectly to where the 30 minutes feel like it's longer than it needs to be, or not longer than it needs to be, but it's like the perfect length.
Oh, I definitely get that one. It feels like 40 minutes instead of 20. I love that so much.
Yeah. That's how I feel like. No, no,
Yeah, you
I get
definitely
the
get
opposite of
lost in
feeling
it.
because, like, I'm watching this 45 minute, episode and I'm like, wait, that's all? I want more. That's
Right.
it? Yeah, I feel like it needs to be longer,
Well,
but
for my part, I felt super satisfied after every episode, really, and I couldn't really marathon it because so much happened in one episode. Like you had to digest it every ep you finish. So I like watched one episode at the end of the day for like a week or so, one or two
I
episodes.
I binged the whole anime. I stayed up like 10 hours binging this whole anime.
Oh
I think
Jesus,
I probably wouldn't be able to do that now, that I'm older. But I remember I watched this when I was like maybe between 14 and 16, maybe 17.
perfect.
Uh yeah, like in that age where
Some
you're
good
like
memories, man.
yeah, where it's like I can stay up all night and watch anime to my heart's content. But like now that we're older, I don't think I could feasibly be able to stay up that long to watch
Right.
this anime because there's 13 episodes, so you need at least between what was it 11ish hours to finish this anime.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a pretty long anime. And what's funny is that like I'm saying I'm 14 between 14 and 16. It's like this anime has just like full blown nudity.
It does, dude.
But I mean, it's pretty tame though. It's pretty normal.
The
Like it's
the
it,
OVA that I saw was full frontal and no sensory.
yeah, but
It was on Crunchyroll.
they're pretty chill about it. Though it's not like
Yeah,
in your
it's Tenchi Muyo. I guess that's par for the course for them, I suppose.
right. Yeah, it's not like in your face, but it's there.
Right.
It's there it's there for your harem enjoyment. And like let's be clear, this anime is straight up a harem. But
Yeah, I would say
it's
so.
a taste. I usually I don't like put
It's a harem for
tasteful.
gentlemen.
It's a it's for humble people. This is the humble man's harem.
Humble banter. I would agree with that statement for sure.
All right. Okay,
So
so for people who don't know what this anime is about, can you give me a synopsis?
right. So they don't really explain too much at the get go. I'll just
Right.
go over episode one. Show starts out. There's a ceremony for this blonde-haired girl named Lashara. She's royalty. She's gonna ascend some form of throne. I didn't really pay attention to that, to be honest.
Right.
It doesn't really matter.
Right. Right.
She's a high up of political official. And Kenshi is with a masked man. An important thing that does happen is that for some reason, this ancient giant golem that they're holding the ceremony in front of slightly reacts to Kenshi. And I don't know why nobody in the whole arena, didn't react to that because, a big, giant uh, figure of their society moving on its own for no given reason should be a big deal, but they just brushed it off. Okay. Uh, so eventually, what happens in the episode is he tries to kill Lashara,
Hmm.
and one of the neat things about the this world is that they're in big robots, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Right. Of course, the mechs.
Kenshi's Seikishi starts to go black, and it just like kind of disintegrates. It's kind of the same setup as an Evangelion. If you use it for too long, it stops working. These are
Right.
more biomechs. If you use it for too long, it'll kind of start to disintegrate and just revert back into shell.
Right. Yeah. It's
Because I
basically
guess
like
they're
a
reusable,
stamina.
right? I never really
Uh,
understood.
I don't know. They don't really go much into like
They don't.
the mech system or whatever, but it's basically like once your stamina runs out, you get really tired. The mech stops working, because it can't pull any more energy,
It just has to
and
regen and
yeah,
then go back to
and
good.
then you're. I wonder if like, let's say that your mech is like done for. Like, let's say you exit the mech. I don't know, take a 5 minute nap. Are you able to go back in and start it again? Probably, right? Yeah.
That's what they did later on around episode 11 or 12, where they were compacting the giant mountain to make a
Mm.
sword.
Okay, gotcha. Oh wait,
Right.
I forgot they even did that. That's so
That
ridiculous.
was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I forgot all about that.
So for some reason they said that if Seikishin sleep on the ground, they recover faster, like on Earth. But
When you
they
say
just
ground, like, are you talking about like dirt floor ground?
grass, dirt grow. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. It's probably because they're grabbing energy from
Yeah.
the whatever. Like, didn't they talk a little bit about that on episode 1 or 2 where in the Holy Lands regarding like a magical field
Aho
barrier?
energy. Yeah. So
I don't know. It sounded all
I
like
don't want to
mumble.
hear about the technical stuff about this anime rated a 9 out of 10. I just like Kenshi collecting
Give me
butterflies and mushrooms.
Give me the bubbles. Give me the butterflies. I want the good stuff.
Which is weird to say because usually I like, just action.
No.
But anyways, yeah, Kenshi tries to murder him. He goes through a whole Evangelion mech going berserk, just like in the show where EVA Unit 1 went berserk in Eighth Angel. He couldn't control his, the
Mech.
little, no,
Right.
the handles in a jet when you're trying to
Oh,
move it.
it gets
Yeah,
stuck or
the
whatever. Yeah.
controller. Yeah. Oh, I can't move it. And then he passes out from being tired or something.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but
Doesn't really matter. They capture
you
Kenshi at that point.
you don't know it's Kenshi in the robot though, right?
I believe you do, but you don't
Oh,
know Kenshi's Kenshi because, like I said, if you've never seen Tenchi Muyo, you wouldn't know who it is.
oh, it's just like a
It's
random boy.
it's just a random boy at this point.
Oh, gotcha.
So they capture him. They said he had some weird herpes marking, at least according to the subs that we had. Lol. It just looked like somebody put acupuncture needles on his neck and
Right.
was maybe controlling him. And I wish they explained why he was there in the first episode with the bad people. But here we are.
Yeah, it is
So
what it is.
yeah, it is what it is. So episode 2 is just preschool stuff after the ceremony. They're on Lashara, her island ship, the Swan. It floats in there just like every other ship and motorcycle. There's not really anything in terms
Whoa.
of terrain vehicles in this place, is there?
I mean, you skim through that pretty quick. She has an island. She has a ship the size of an island. Okay, yeah,
There's a
sure.
dragon on the blade. Oh, it's so impressive. I mean, that's how the world is beautiful. Like, it's based off of an old civilization that collapsed. They used the remaining technology to have their ships, to have, all their stuff.
Right.
It's just floating
I
island. I
mean,
guess
not.
it's crystals. Maybe if we saw Tenchi Muyo, we'd know.
Yeah. I
how all the
mean,
stuff
not
works.
everyone has a floating ship castle. Where I think the reason you're only
It
this is
wasn't a big
becoming a
deal to
normal.
me.
I mean, this is a big deal to me. Like, it's a floating island that is
I
also a ship. But I think the reason why it's pretty normal to you is because all these girls are like high royalty. Like they're heading to this place where all royals go to get trained up to be
go to
join an
school,
army or whatever. Yeah, go to school, whatever. And all these
lead a
girls are
nation.
super rich, and they have these nice
Uh,
floating island ships that apparently you don't care too much about. But I thought that was really cool. Like,
You know probably why is because when you only see that you assume everybody has it right. But I also forgot that later in the show there's a group of bandits and all they had were really big, 18 wheeler type vehicles, stuff with
um,
actual tires.
yeah, or like I think like the most advanced stuff they had besides like the mechs were like floating motorcycles or whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're like,
So
oh yeah, everyone here owns a sports car. What's a regular car? Nah, we only own nice stuff here,
yeah, it's if you're watching a show about rich people in Dubai, basically.
basically.
So episode two, you know, they Lashara decides to take him as an attendant. This is
Right.
after, they cure his herpes or whatever the heck it was.
Whatever
After
that
that, it
is.
doesn't even matter. He was under some sort of drugs.
Right.
Uh, and they mentioned that he was no sign of a summoning ritual, that summoning people from another world is typically dictated by the position of the stars. Oh,
Oh,
magical. So, you know, apparently, like, hey, this is weird. Why isn't there any sign of him being taken? And this was, back in the OVA, they dropped him off there. The
right.
aliens from that show dropped him off.
Right.
Uh, and this is probably where the best fan service happens. Not the best, but one of the good spots is when Kenshi was getting washed by two maids. Do you remember that part?
Oh, is this like before or after he's still in the cage?
Before. No,
Bef-
might have been after, actually. The
like, is he
cage
still in
was
the
the first
cage?
episode, wasn't it? No. He
I
got he got washed, then he was clothed, and then he's at school. So the cage would have been in episode one
one. I
because
just
they
remember they
capture
put him in
him.
a cage. I remember they put him in a cage, and then they literally opened like a trap door beneath the ship and hung him outside in the wind.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome to be honest with you.
And
But it didn't
I
really matter
remember
too
like
much.
after one day passed while he was like in the cage, like they go check on him, and he's just surrounded by like so in the anime they're called like koros, which are basically squirrels. He's just surrounded like a bunch of squirrels in this cage. That's all I remember.
Yeah. And they took him out, and he's an attendant for Lashara now, which is
Right,
should be a big deal, but nobody really batted an eye at it. At least that's how I felt about it.
right. Okay, so what was the scene you're talking about? Go ahead and retell me this scene because I don't remember it.
Uh, they basically have Kenshi and in The Witcher where Geralt is bathing in that tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically what it was, except he had two maids washing him, and it was just a bunch of giggling. Lashara tried to take a peek, and the elder maid's like, "Nope, you're too young for this," or something like that. And you can see his face. It looks like one of the Koros. All how Kenshi's face usually gets sad and stuff like that, or when he cries. It was kind of
Yeah.
like that type, a little bit lewd. It was
Like the
highly
downer
enjoyable.
face.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh my god, why is this happening to me?" But I'm
You
enjoying it.
know, what I think is that the reason I don't remember that scene is because there's probably a billion other good scenes
There are
that's overtaken my head, and
overshadow it.
that was like minor compared to like all the other scenes. But
Yeah.
what happens after that?
They dress him. He joins them at the Holy Land. They arrive finally.
Right.
Kaya becomes a Seikishi in that show. They actually ended with her in a coat and the cat ears. And also in that episode, they had the armor duel with Wanli, the purple-haired girl. That's like the genius engineer,
Right,
the
right,
harem,
right,
right?
right.
That was proctored by Mizaya, which is the oldest sister of Kiaya, correct?
Uh,
She was.
yes, I guess.
At
Yeah.
first, I thought it was Lashara's older sister, but it was definitely Kiaya's older sister,
Right. I
which
think
is the
Lashara
girl that
doesn't
becomes
have
a
a
Seikishin.
right. I mean, you're dropping all these names, and the people have no
You don't
idea what you're
remember?
talking about.
Well, that's true. It doesn't
So
matter though. It's
okay.
just
So
a bunch of
let's
girls.
just do let's just break down these characters real quick, just so we're not losing anybody.
No, okay.
So Lashara is the owner of this one giant ship, okay, and then
Right.
they're headed to this Holy Land. The Holy Land is basically just a school. Just think of it as a school to where all these girls go to. They
There's
study, and
guys
then they
too, though. Remember that.
yeah, there's guys too, but it's mostly an all girls school. Um, and they're trained to learn how to pilot these mechs. Okay, that's done and done. And then on the opposite end of Lashara, you have her rival. What was her name again?
Maria Nanadan.
Maria. Okay. Um, same type of girl, like rich girl, owns her own island. Also going to this Holy Land, train up. Okay, and then Lashara has would you say second in command, or what is their
She has an
relationship?
attendant for Yukina. The
No, no,
Yukina
no.
is her attendant. Is that what you
No,
mean?
no, no. I'm talking about Lashara and Kaya. Are they like? Is she like second in command for Lashara, or
Basically, Kiaya is like Yukina. She's an attendant too.
are they attendants? Okay, so basically Kaya is Lashara's attendant. I would also say bodyguards too because they're always around them. So
Definitely.
yes,
They're
I would
all
put them more in the
Seikishins.
bodyguard range than actual attendants because they don't attend that much. They're more
That's true.
bodyguards. Um, yeah. So Kai is a side character, and then Yukine is Maria's bodyguard attendant. Okay, we got those out of the way, and
Right.
then you have Messiah, which is such a weird name. Like I,
Messiah. It sounds Aztec.
it's so weird. Yeah. So how do they say in the anime? Is it Messiah or
Messiah.
is it?
Messiah.
Um,
Messiah Sensei.
so Messiah is Lashara's older sister. She's also a teacher at the Holy Lands, and then you have Wallen, Wallen,
Wahanli.
That's such a weird name, man.
It sounds kind
These
of
guys have such.
Chinese-ish.
It is. She works at the Holy Land as a mechanic.
I wouldn't
And
say she
then
works there. She's just always tinkering with her own devices.
I mean, if
She makes her
she's
own robot, and
then I
that's
would
not
say
on the
she works
behalf of
there,
the
right?
Holy Land. No, because she offers it up to another country, and they test it out in like episode 6, which
So
is the best episode of the show.
so she is she there to study or like I mean
Yeah,
it
she's
doesn't really go
studying.
much.
She's a student there.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
That's weird. It's weird because she's the only female character that can't operate a mech because she doesn't have the capability to do so.
well,
Um,
there's they're called Seikishins.
right.
Hers is what her stuff is mech, the Kikojins or whatever.
Yeah, like she builds her own mechs basically.
Yeah,
And then the Sekishis they're like
biomech.
biomechs, yeah. And then you have a bunch of other supporting characters, and then we'll talk about it once we get to them because there's so many good characters.
Oh my god,
Like
there's
you
so many
usually
characters.
when we're talking about supporting characters, they're like one and done, but these characters are so well written. They're so well like I would say they have good backstories. Like they just they show these personalities of these characters so well. You just kind of enjoy all of them.
They have good
Oh,
facial expressions too.
oh yeah, most def. I mean, it's a harem anime. Like
Yeah, for sure.
these are some pro bono facial expressions.
Wagyu facial
Yeah, right.
expressions.
Okay, so what were we on? Episode 3, episode 4? What were
2.
we talking? 2?
So I was mentioning about Wahan Lee doing the armor duel that episode,
Right.
and she wins. Then probably one of the better scenes happens where Kenshi is foraging in the forest and they
Right.
catch him. And this is where
when you say catch him, they
they don't catch
They
him.
don't
They
catch
find
him.
him. They spot him. They
Yeah,
spot him. There's
yeah.
no way they can catch Kenshi. He easily dodges them. He makes a fool out of them, basically.
Okay, so let's go deep into this. Let's explain fully what we're talking about. So Kenji is foraging in this forest.
Yeah.
He gets spotted by these are some legit buff ass elves. They're like it's like
Super
these
old dudes, 30-year-old MMA fighters from another world.
How do you know they're 30? They're elves. They could be 600.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean they are legit MMA fighters. Like they're hella
Yeah, they're
buff.
super buff and
Yeah.
slim and
Like
everything like
and
how Gracie would look.
Kenji looks like a stick. Like honestly, he looks like a stick.
Yeah,
So
he does.
these two elf guys, they jump down on both sides of him. They rush him. They rush the hell out of him, and he nimbly easily dodges these two guys like with
As
a
if he were
feather.
holding a cup of tea in his hand with his pinky pointing out. That's how graceful he was.
Oh, most definitely.
And then Aura, walks in and is like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, if it's Kenshi foraging, it's okay."
Yeah, and Aura is another one of the supporting female characters that also goes to
Probably best
the
girl.
school. I'm 100% best girl for me. I don't know. There's so many best girls, but for me definitely
I'm still on
like
the fence with her and Yukina. I can't decide. It's too
I
hard.
mean dark skin elf. Yes, my favorite. And basically they you Aura goes up to Kenshi. She's like, "Hey, why are you foraging? Are they not feeding you?" And he's like, "Nah, I just like it's a hobby. I just like to forage." And then
Yeah,
he produces this like um what's that like in our like
it was like a regular mushroom cap, those white ones, but with holes all over it.
like what would be the equivalent to ours? Is it those mushrooms that they have to use pigs to find?
Truffle.
Um, Truffle. It's basically like a truffle, like their version of a truffle, but more expensive, like and even more rare.
Yeah, he probably could have bought his own fleet of violins with the amount of mushrooms he found in this show, and he just does it super. He sniffs there and he
And
finds
he's
it. He
like,
really is a
yeah,
truffle pig.
yeah, and he's like, oh, you want it here? You can have this $1 billion mushroom, whatever, it's yours. I don't
Yeah,
care.
it really did sound like it was that expensive
I mean
because
they
they said
would
only like royalty gets it.
no. I remember they were talking about it, and it was like I like the guy was like I've only had like a sliver of this, like a sliver when he went to a royal party or a royal coronation or something like that. So
Exactly.
so
Right.
yeah, it is very very rare. This I don't like I know we're talking about a mushroom, but it's can she pulling out like a bar of gold from the ground? That's how rare this
Right.
thing is.
I don't. Did they even ever explain like if there was a uh, cultural significance to it?
Um, not at all, really.
It was
I
just
think
an
they just,
expensive food item, but then
yeah, but he basically found like do you remember that episode of Sword Art Online where Kirito gets like the S rank meat or whatever S rank rabbit meat?
yeah.
It's basically that, but like a million times better.
No, yeah, definitely.
You're right.
And
Um,
then he gets permission to forage in perpetuity by
right,
Aura,
right.
which
I
was
mean,
what it was.
with that mushroom, he probably could have bought his own like 1,000 acre forest.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens after that?
So that's pretty much the end of the show. The end of not the show.
The episode.
There's 11 more episodes. End of that episode too. The third episode is the massage episode.
Oh, I feel like we just skipped this episode and not even talk about it. So we don't want to spoil anyone about
We
it.
don't want. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it.
I don't want. I mean, there's other parts. I mean, the third episode has so many good parts. It's not just the massage, but it has
That
so
the
many
massage was
other.
everything.
I don't know. I mean, there's like way. There's parts I like way better in episode 3 than just the massage. Like do you remember the part where he gets the job as
That was
as the laundry
episode
boy?
4.
Was that episode 4? That was episode
I
3.
believe so. Let me double check. Uh, yeah, it was about episode 4 or 5 that he gets a job.
Oh,
Because
really?
in episode 3, it's just they have him doing massages.
Massages. All
Messiah.
right, let's just skip episode 3 because if there's one thing I don't want to spoil, I don't want to spoil episode 3 for anyone. Like if anyone's interested in watching the anime.
Oh, hold on. Well, I could say that at least that episode 3 is where they revealed the Wahanli's red mech. No, it wasn't
Um,
even a red mech at this point. It was like the version one. It was like a construction bot.
Right. It basically like a almost like a spider looking. It you know
Has
what it
four
reminded me
legs.
of? It kind of reminded me of those spider robots from
Ghost in the
uh
Shell.
Ghost in the Shell,
Yeah,
except you blew them up to like house size, and
not
then
blue for sure.
uh
Absolutely.
yeah, like they're house size, and then you have seating in the middle of them. That's basically what they remind me of.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just, a random note. This is where they initially show, just in passing, they don't even, talk about it more. Dagmeyer saying he received support for some dude named Cliff. I assume
Oh
this
yeah,
is,
just
yeah,
the shady stuff that happens in the background that no one cares
initial
about because
groundwork.
I don't want none of your shonen in my slice of life.
Exactly. So I would just say watch, if you want to know what episode three was, just watch episode three, skip episode one and two. You don't really need to watch it. Unless you want to
Right.
watch the mushroom scene, which was glorious.
Wait, are you telling people to skip? Don't skip episodes. Watch all of it.
It's
Just don't.
just episode three so good though.
You you
My
gotta
watch
watch
list,
all of it.
my canon watch list would be 2, 3, 6.
No, watch all. Look. Okay, so like we just did a review on Rainbow, right? And how we
Right.
said like the first half of the anime was unbearable to watch. No, this anime is not unbearable to watch. It's great. It's just that some episodes are like a 10 and other episodes are like a 7.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
they're not bad. They're just not as good as the other episodes. Like compared to Rainbow, where some episodes can be like a 2 or a 3. I'm legit not joking. These Some of those episodes were garbage bad. This episode, there's just episodes that are just way better, like in the tens, and then some were just in the sevens. They're all
Right.
good. They're all good.
All
Don't
right, all
skip
right,
them.
all right.
Don't
Don't
skip
do it.
them.
I take it back. I apologize for offending your 9 out of 10 anime.
It's a great
Oh man.
okay. Skipping that part, let's go to the fourth episode, which had so many epic moments in it.
Oh my god. Probably
So
my
many.
favorite thing in this was when Kenshi gets busted for stealing stones.
Oh yeah, he was stealing stones in the. Wasn't he like pickaxing stones inside like
Yeah, they
the
had a
bathhouse?
they were saying that they think there's an issue with Koros digging holes in the ship in the SWAT,
Right.
and that it would affect the floating ability of the ship actually. And Kenshi was like digging holes and covering them with shrubs, just mining stuff. Oh man, they didn't even, there's no, they never really mentioned what they're used for. They just that it looks like the ship from one of the characters in Tenchi Muyo, the spaceship.
I think the only reason like Kenji's like mining them is because they look pretty and he just wants to
Yeah,
collect
that's
them.
it. That's all it
Yep,
is.
that's all it is.
I wouldn't be surprised if the ship was made out of the stones, and maybe that's what's causing the ship to float, but the
It's
swan to
probably
float.
like
Excuse me.
it's probably like the stones are probably like wires or something that transfers energy evenly throughout the ship.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
probably
my
super.
guess.
I'm sure it's super important.
Something, yeah, something like that. They don't go too much into it, but let's talk about the meat of the episode where Kenji gets a job at the school.
You're right. Uh, was it this episode? I don't remember.
It's either third episode or fourth episode. It's one
All
of
I
those
remember
episodes,
is Lashara gets called out by like the headmistress of the school for not paying Kenshi a wage.
right?
When she easily could have. She was just trying to penny pinch and get free work out of him, I guess.
I mean, but that's her character type though. She's
Yeah, it
like
is.
the
Money,
money
money,
grumpy
money.
character. Yeah, it's all about money,
Perfect world leader right there.
right?
And what was his first job that he got at the school?
He
Folding bed
was
sheets.
he no, he was like a room attendant that goes into each room and then he's like maid
Fixes a
service.
clean. Yep, exactly. Folding bed
Yeah,
sheets.
yeah.
And he did it in like a second, whereas the other lady did it like an hour to finish all of the rooms on the floor.
No, when we say a second, he takes a second per room. That's how fast he is. He goes in the room, done. He's out.
Yeah, it's like going Super Saiyan fighting Frieza, and then just flashing around the room. Folding
I'm,
clothes,
I'm,
taking
I'm
out
almost,
dust.
I'm over here looking like at my bed, and it takes me 10 minutes to put the cover onto my bed.
I just, one and done for the whole month. Hide
I, and
hide whatever filth is under. No, I'm just kidding.
he's over here. He's over
Honestly,
here
not.
like knocking out like 1,000 rooms like in a minute or something like that. He's crazy fast. But basically, what happens is that so after he completes his laundry, they like all these like managers of
Of
these
the
like different
school.
workshops.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they start passing around. So he starts making shoes, he starts cooking, he starts cleaning, he does everything, but he does everything with so much efficiency, it's ridiculous. And I think one of my favorite parts is that when all the managers, including the principal, they're sitting in this like basement room and they're talking about like how good Kenshi is and how how they should find a place for him to work, and they're fighting between each other like, no, 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 he should work for my department. It's like, no, 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 didn't you just get the newest worker? He should be working in my department. And then the principal is like, guys, he's one person, we can't be pushing him too hard. And then in the background, like this little window, you just see Kenchi like running back and forth, hauling like these literal 2-ton items back and forth.
Yeah. It wasn't the last time they showed him hauling that much weight.
No, it's so ridiculous. It is like the most ridiculous thing, and my favorite part is that he's so humble about it. Like he's not trying to show off like how powerful he is. He's just like he just wants to be helpful. That's just it.
Yeah,
He just wants to be
really it.
helpful.
Well, what is
Yeah.
he though? 14 or something like that in the show?
I don't know if they actually
He's
do.
he's like in that age range, 15, 14.
I mean,
He's
I think all
young.
the girls are around that age too. Like it's
True. High
yeah.
school
So I
type setting.
yeah, it's a high school type thing. So I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably between 14 and probably 16, somewhere between that range.
Oh, and by the way, one of the funny things about that is when he was doing his work, wasn't Lashara like creeping on him, like hiding on a hill, behind some bushes she's holding over her
Oh
head?
yeah, they're holding up like it was Lashara and Kaya, right? They're
Right.
like behind these two bushes, and they're wondering what's going on or something. And then I remember, doesn't Lashara like get super happy because she's making like a big bank off of Kenshi?
Yeah, she is.
Like all the money's going to her, and I'm like, what? Because Kenshi's technically her attendant, and she's like, yes, and it just shows her like in a dark room just counting up money or something like that.
They even say they're gonna like sell him as a steed to like different people, don't they?
He's basically yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because in one of these early episodes, uh, Kenshi asks Yukina if she feels okay with being anybody, being with anybody, and Yukina says something along the lines as long as it stops people from fighting, and she blushes. Lol.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was just not something you casually say to a girl, but whatever.
Right. Okay, so oh, like this is like from you know that meme where it's like level 1 like rookie or like level 99 boss or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I don't remember how that meme goes. But from episode 3 or 4 or whatever, let's say 4 to episode 5, he goes from working for the school to being a student at the school. And
Yep.
and mind you, this place is not cheap. This is like hella expensive to go here.
Well, they do
Because
test him, right? And he basically aces everything.
no, 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 he doesn't. He goes beyond acing these tests. Okay, he invents a new train of thought to these tests. Do you remember when the teachers were talking about him?
The only times I remember is when they said, I remember when they just washed in episode 2 when they watched Kenshi. When the
Hmm.
head maid said it feels like a new historical moment in their
So
society, and they mentioned that a couple of times more in the series from different characters.
okay, so I haven't watched the anime in a long time, so this is just going from my memory, so it might be a little fuzzy, but
Right.
I recall them having like a I guess a cultural festival, if that's what you would call it, where basically all the students go around and they evaluate these cultures and whatnot.
Oh, right.
Eh,
You're right.
right? Yeah, yeah. And the principal comes up to all the teachers, right?
Yeah.
And she asks like, "Oh, hey, any standouts, and then the teachers were like, we were gonna say no, and then but then we saw Kenchi's, and Kenchi's were just on par with ours, except there's some minor differences. And then another teacher ever spoke up was like, yeah, but those differences were easily justified by his rating system.
Oh my God,
And
yeah, it was like what was it, just like arrangement of flower, arrangement of food, stuff like that, or was it mathematics?
it was like a cultural festival. That's all I can
Oh,
recall. But
it was
I love
definitely
that scene.
something like food or something like that because I remember them gushing over his sushi adorned plate.
No, 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 no. That was him cooking. That was something totally different. That was
Oh,
when he
okay.
was working at the kitchen. He was still working at the school. This is when he was. I guess they just gave him like to let him join the class. For this cultural festival, just for something
Well, everybody
on the
was
side.
doing it
Yeah,
too, as you
everyone was
said.
doing it, but he's not part of the school yet.
Oh,
He's
okay.
yeah, I think this is like when he transitions probably into the school. I recall. I remember this so well, and I haven't watched it. You just finished the anime.
I mean, there's so many good parts, man. It's
I
it's
know.
easy to forget one over another.
Yeah, but yeah, I just remember this part so specifically because the teacher was like, no, 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 Kenshi isn't wrong. He just has his own grading system with his own train of thought that is easily justified because he explained it. He explained his grading process, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is this is top tier.
Easily better than the final fight. Easily.
I mean, I don't even remember like all the get your crappy shonen crap out of my slice of life because all I want is more slice of life.
Definitely.
Do you remember? Okay, so he joins the school, right?
Hmm.
Uh, is that like in the same episode? I don't recall.
It could have been. A lot happens in one episode because it's like two episodes mashed together, but they managed to put in a lot of, of his life into one
Yeah, I am so
because it is
glad.
45 minutes.
I am so glad these are 45 minutes long because oh my god, it would have been kind of a drag to like put these into 20-minute segments, especially when you have to double up the
Oh, for
endings and
sure.
opening themes. And I don't mind the opening theme. Opening theme is a banger. It is amazing. Okay, I remember I showed you this opening theme like once before, and you're like, "Eh, it was alright." But after you listen to it a couple of times, it's actually
Yeah,
really
I
good.
stopped skipping it. It's really good. Who sings it?
Something around or something.
Follow Me by Seira Kagami. Sound
Uh,
around. Feet sound
sound
around.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I remember is around. But I mean, oh, follow like the name
The
of the song was
title,
"Follow Me," right?
yeah, the title is Follow Me by Seira Kagami. Featured artist is Sound Around.
Sound around. I gotcha. Um, that's I mean, and the thing about this opening is that it's very well animated. I'm I think they used the 3 for the landscape, right? But it's very unnoticeable because it's on the
It's
side.
super noticeable, but it doesn't matter because, they need to show movement, right? And show a
Yeah,
ship.
but I mean, it doesn't diminish from like the scene
At
because
first
it's
I
on the
hated
side.
it, but then it's so minimal, it doesn't matter. And it's not
Yeah,
awful. It fits into
yeah.
the scenery pretty well.
I mean, I didn't even notice it was 3D, and you told me until you told me it was 3D because like when you're watching it, it's not in focus. Because when you're watching, something, you're focusing on the actual like motion in the middle of the screen, and they're on the side. So like if you're not focusing on the sides of the actual screen, you won't even notice them.
Right.
Um, and of course the song is a banger. And the thing is that they draw these mechs, moving when they could easily have used 3D, but I'm so glad they drew them, and I guess it's justified that it takes a month to make this because there's a lot of animation to draw.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure they animated it a little bit in advance, but because it
Right.
is for basically three episodes in one. So yeah, once per month is man, it must have sucked back then waiting for a monthly
A
release
month.
of these. Yeah. I'm
You
glad we
know it's
just watched it, back to back
yeah.
basically.
So I don't want to talk too much about
The plot.
no, 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 the massage episode. After the massage episode, like I still want to talk about the animation. Do you remember when Wally's like spider robot was like? Can you imagine animating that? Oh my
Was
god!
that 3D or was it animated?
No, 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 no. It was animated.
Yeah, it was
That
really good.
that thing was like so smooth. It was like it like this thing was like riding along like
All the
uh
fighting scenes were well choreographed, I would say.
yeah, it's very smooth. It
I
like
remember you saying, did they rotoscope this?
like how do you can't rotoscope that, man? How do you rotoscope a robot?
I mean, the robots were basically big humanoids.
No. Like when you rotoscope, you pretty much like one to one. You know, like you take a video of someone and then you draw on top of it.
Oh,
You
you
can't.
can't just make a new model but copy the movements. Yeah, you might as
I
well
mean,
just
I mean,
be.
I guess you technically you could if
Maybe
you
they
like.
choreographed it with people and then made the animated version.
I
Because the
like the
moves were
only
smooth as hell.
it's very smooth. I guess the only reason, like the only way you could really do that is if you animated it in 3D and then drew over it. But I mean, that's a lot of work. You can
No,
just
they
use the
could have
3D.
just drawn it. Like, looked at how the fighting scenes, like,
I'm pretty sure they drew it because it wasn't that like
yeah,
technically
I'm sure they
difficult
used
to draw.
a video reference and then drew it because, it was
I mean, where
choreographed.
you gonna get a video reference of an eight-legged robot riding along a rooftop of a
No,
house?
I was talking about the humanoid fights, my
Oh,
bad.
the humanoid fights. Were there that many humanoid fights? Like, are you talking about like the mecha fights or?
Yeah, the Biomechs fighting the Sekishins.
Uh, mm, I mean that's
Because there
yeah
was a lot of
maybe.
sword play, a lot of sword and board, just with flying around.
Eh, you say sort of bored. I'm over here think. Only thing I remember is Kenshi ripping people's head off with his tail.
He did, didn't he?
He ripped a lot of
And,
heads
and I
off.
and I say sword and board, but the only board that I saw was the one that ate arms and had a mouth.
Oh, it's that one mech with 8 arms.
It was the black one, the special one that nobody
Oh,
else
the
has.
special one. What like they build a hype for that thing for like several episodes and it was only like used for like maybe 20 minutes
You
and
mean
then
Gaia, the final
uh
boss mech, or
yeah
Doll's
that one.
mech? Uh,
I know Doll's mech was like basically the opposite of Kenshi's mech, but no, I'm talking about like the big brick stone one.
oh right, yeah, the one that Doll pilots in the end.
Yeah. I mean they hyped it up, but it wasn't that big of a deal
No,
honestly.
it wasn't. He just kind of dealt with it.
Yeah, he just dealt with just like he deals with everything. He just deals with it. He's like,
Well, he
yeah,
had
whatever.
help. He had help for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. So going back to the school episode, uh, there's some great scenes that happen in this school episode. Oh my gosh. Um, the first great thing that happens is that like all these girls find out that he's now going to school. And then they're like, "Oh my God, is he a pilot now?" And this,
They don't know. There's just buzz at this point. They
yeah,
don't bound to
it's
like 2 more episodes or 3 more episodes.
no. They immediately going out like so in this world. There's a very like this is like the perfect setup for
The birth
harem.
rate is
Abysmal,
super. Yeah, the birth
abysmal.
rate for men, that is.
No, not the birth rate for men. It's basically the amount of men that are able to pilot a Seikishi is
No,
very
they're
very low.
right, but there's definitely a majority amount of girls compared to boys in this world.
I thought it was like I would have thought it was even and it
No,
was
it's
just like
not.
selective. Really?
No, it's definitely there's a lot more women than men. That's why they
I
fight
know
over
I
them.
know I know there's a lot more women than men. I just thought that it was just like they're only interested in men that can pilot Sekishis. That's why they're
No, they
so
didn't
very low.
know that Kenshi was one. That's why they.
No. I'm not talking about like knowing that Kenji. I'm just talking about like as a world, as a world,
All right.
like maybe men only 10% of men are able to pilot Sekishis or actually from the look of it maybe only 1% are able to pilot Sekishis, right? And then maybe 80% of women are able to pilot Sekishis. That's why there's so very little amount of men on like at the school.
There's definitely a skewed birth rate because in the OVA they even mentioned it.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Huh. I mean, it's a great
not a
setup for
birth
harem
rate, but
anime.
gender.
Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, it's
Uh,
just a great. But uh, I wish I knew more about these. Like, how they set up these like traditions where it's like, oh, it's tradition to do all this crazy stuff, like or do you remember like the episode where they go to the pool? It's like, oh, it's tradition to wear like these see-through outfits.
yeah, that's kind of didn't make sense to me, but whatever.
I
It's their
mean, they're bringing
tradition.
Yes, it's a tradition. I mean, that's what their go-to thing is like. It's a tradition. Like they're
I
bringing a
thought
lot
they
of like
just
these
did it
weird.
to show nipple without showing nipple, just outline,
No, 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 because they do it again in the train episode with
right?
the. It's a tradition to wear or to have like pillow fights, or it's a tradition that I don't know. It's weird. You
Mhm.
probably won't get it with actually watching the original show or something like that. It's probably like another character bringing these traditions from Earth, but it like instead of like telling them like the right tradition, it was just random stuff he just wanted to say for his like harem or something like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they definitely mentioned this is just going back to the second episode that Lashara commented about civilizations, you know, interacting with other worlds having a rule where they don't directly interact with them. So that's what their idea was with Kenshi, that he was there
Hmm.
for that. Which he was
Maybe.
technically on a mission for sure.
I mean, but Keiichi's actually from that world, right?
No,
Yeah.
his
So.
mom's from Geminar. Kenshi's from Earth.
Oh. Oh, really? And I guess they don't really show how he like
No,
popped
they
in there.
don't. They don't. They
Yeah.
don't even show how long he's been there before he tries to assassinate Lashar, which
Yeah.
kind of bugged
But
me story wise.
I mean, does it bug you story wise?
Yeah, because I wanted to have a better flowing story. I felt like
Yeah,
there was a lot
I could care
missing.
less. I could care less about the story.
That's true. Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
They
I mean,
excelled
okay.
at the fan service.
I do kind of want to know what happens in the story. You know, like um,
They just,
that's pretty
as I
much
said, they
the
mush it towards the last few episodes. They
yeah,
even episode 6, we don't really know. It's just starting to happen.
right. Okay, so back to the school. Back to school. So Kenji is now going to the school, and one of my favorite scenes happens.
Which one?
He it's the scene where they're learning how to sword play with the Messiah Sensei, and I
Oh, where
remember,
she measures his ability.
yeah, she's like, okay, Kenshi, since you're coming into this class, I want to see how well you are, at using a sword. So Kenshi just stands in the middle of the arena, and she's like, okay, Kenshi, I just want you to block, and I'll do the attacking. And he's like, okay, so he just holds his sword, and she swings at his sword like a couple of times, right? And you can physically see the sword like it's like generating some type of like movement. I don't know how to describe this movement. And then Messiah is like, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're pretty good. Why don't you step onto the side, and then we'll do something later with you. And then one of the supporting characters, like one of the student characters, is like, I think Kenshi should be able to learn with us. And Messiah's like, no, no, I'm gonna give him some private lessons later.
Yeah, because he's definitely way above her league.
No, no, I remember because the principal comes and she asks Messiah's like, why is Kenshi not participating in the class? And Messiah's like, yeah, Kenji's like master class, and he's probably better than me, so
Yep,
it's probably not a good idea to put him into a class with all these novices.
for sure. Yeah, and that's the same episode where he gets where those four guys try to bully him. Maybe.
Yeah, if you call that bullying.
Yeah, they got absolutely wiped, just like the elves did in a few episodes ago.
Like it like basically they drag Kenshi to the side, and they're gonna be like, okay, Kenshi, we're gonna show you how to really train. And basically it's them trying to attack Kenshi, and Kenshi just he doesn't even attack back. He just dodges. After like 3 or 4 dodges, they're all like they're out of stamina, and Kenshi's like, okay, that was a really good pre-workout. Are we ready to
That was freaking Dagmire in that group.
No, no, I don't think Dagmar in that. I don't
I'm
think he
pretty
was.
sure he was the leader of it.
No, I remember the leader was some weird blonde guy that we've never seen. It was just some random. It was just
Might
some
have been.
random.
I might be
Yeah,
misremembering. There was
yeah. It
only like
wasn't Dogmar.
really two blonde dudes that really showed up on the screen.
Yeah, I specifically remember Dogmar is like the most lazy shit ever. So he wasn't in that scene because anything involving any type of movement, he's not in it because he's
Well,
he's
he
super lazy.
schemed a lot and made a lot of plans happen, but nothing substantive. When
Not
it
at all.
mattered, he didn't show up.
Yeah, I think he's like not that type of petty to where he'd cause a fight with Kenshi. Like I specifically recall him not being in that scene. It was just they just threw in four random characters just to make Kenshi look good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, do you remember what happens after the school part scene or anything like that?
yeah. The episode 5 would be after that. Uh, that's
Are we
where,
still all? Is this all still in episode 4?
yeah, it
Oh
was.
my
It's a lot.
god. Oh my god.
Yeah,
All right, what happens in episode 5?
that's where Lithia is still angry about the massage from Kenshi. She's calling him a wild beast, and he gets hired to distract all the girls around the school.
Oh, and Lithia is basically school president. Yeah,
Something like that,
type.
yeah.
Yeah, like school president type character.
Mhm.
I would say besides, or I think she's also in one of my favorite waifu list.
She's middle tier for me.
I don't know. I just like that type of character. But I mean, there's so many waifus to choose from. You're gonna have plenty of options.
Everything, is a smorgasbord, really.
I mean, you have two MILF characters. So what do you want?
Yeah, no, dude.
Okay, so besides them chasing after Kenshi, what else happens?
So that was the foraging contest. The one
Oh
where,
God.
yeah,
Oh
yeah, dude. That's the one where Lashara and Kayak were getting the best herbs, only to find out they're the
the
best at killing
dankest,
people.
the dankest, most poisonous herbs you can find in the forest.
Exactly.
I remember it was like quality over quantity. I remember Lashara's like taunting her rival Maria's like, huh, you only got one thing and finds out like all of her stuff is poisonous.
Yeah. Oh, these are wonderfully poisonous. Is what the proctors said.
Right. And it was just I remember it was not just foraging, it was also like a foraging and soup making contest or something like
Yep,
that.
it was
And Kenchi puts in like the best ingredients.
the same. Didn't he get another one of those mushrooms with the holes in them? The truffle.
I don't think so. I just remember the only thing I remember from that scene is that he put in like a bunch of dried lizards and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
he did. And there's like, oh, what's your secret ingredient?
Secret.
Dried lizards. And everybody
It
was
was
like
like
creeped out by it.
the
I
only
mean, but if
person
it
that wasn't
tastes
creeped
good,
out. Yeah, the only person that wasn't creeped out was like Aura because she's an elf, so she kind of knows like the I guess the medicinal properties of these like um dried out lizards and whatnot.
right?
Oh, that was a great episode. What else happened in that episode?
And that was it, really. It
Oh,
was
okay.
more fan service.
And then episode 6 was when they
Best
started
episode,
putting which episode?
pillow fight.
Oh, the pillow. Oh, yes, the I okay. I know we might skip over it, but I don't want to skim over how great this train is. This train is top tier, okay?
That's where they first introduced it, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically Maria's mom owns this like crazy train that does it fly? I don't think it flies, right?
Nope,
It
it's
actually
always on rails.
it's on rails. I mean, do you know how rich you have to be to put rails around like everywhere you want to go? It's ridiculous. Like this is a private train. This is her private train, and I'm guessing this is her private rails or something like that.
Yep.
And like when we're taking a look inside this train is massive. Like each cart is like the size of like a house or like probably bigger than a house. It's huge. And it's equipped with cannons, but it doesn't show you that right now because it's more towards like what episode, like episode 11 or 12, right? That they show that this train has cannons.
Yes, actually, episode 10.
10. Okay, gotcha. But uh, inside this train they have like what I would say the equivalent of like maybe a beach episode, right?
Yeah, but it's
Even
the best episode of the show, dude.
I
It,
mean,
it really
you
is.
get so many. It's basically this anime is like a string of a bunch of beach episodes but put together, but just the good parts.
Well, Tenchi Muyo is renowned for its fan services and not, even though we've never seen it.
even I haven't even heard of anything about like it's because this anime is very old. It's like 1990s or something like that.
Very late 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know anything.
It was
I just
definitely on
stumbled
Toonami.
upon this anime. Was it?
Yeah, Tenchi Muyo.
Man, this is way before my time.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, but I just remember that this anime is. I just stumbled upon this anime out of nowhere. I don't know where I stumbled upon it. I just remember watching it. I was like, "Oh, this is so good." I think that's why I recommended it to you, just because it has just super good parts that I really enjoy. Um, what was your favorite scene in the train? Because I know a lot of stuff happened in the train. What was your favorite scene?
Aside from the pillow fight, there was the week. You mean the beside the train, the episode?
No, no, no. Like I. Okay, so when you're saying pillow fight, you're leaving out a lot of details because this isn't just a straight up pillow fight. Okay, this is a pillow fight slash strip contest.
Yeah, he has to take the sashes of everybody, does he not? And
Okay, yeah.
that's
So all of
whoever.
them are in like bathrobe slash kimono
It was a
type.
bathrobe. Like when you go to in any anime, you see the onsen episode, where they all go to Kyoto and they take the hot springs bath, and then they're
Right,
drinking their gyunyu, chilling in the robe, that type of
right,
robe.
right. And basically, Maria's mom is like, okay, we're gonna have this traditional, air quotes, traditional game where we're all gonna pull each other's sashes. Last person standing gets a special prize or something like that, if I recall.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the proctor of the exam just declared Kenshi the winner. She like fought for it, taking people's sashes too.
Yeah, I mean, you still won fair and square, right? Everyone
Yeah,
else
he
had
did.
like even,
They were
yeah,
all
everyone
gone.
else,
They were all done
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he. Do you remember when him and Aura were fighting? And Aura tries to pull up his sash, and he pulls like this clone jutsu move or whatever.
Yeah,
Like he swaps places with like one of the maids or something like that. I was like,
he
that
does.
is so random.
He throws a robe of somebody else or something like that.
Or I also recall like one of his it was like the president, what was her name? I don't recall her name. Lithia, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it was Lithia and Aura, and they're gonna do a pincer attack at him. He does a move where he grabs like two of the futons and like lifts it up into like a makeshift like fort or something, and then he just disappears.
Oh, and by the way, when he's fighting Aura, he slides under her kimono,
Right.
and she blushes, and he blushes, and she's like, "I thought it was
It's
uh
traditional.
traditional to not wear anything."
Like you didn't see anything, right? He's like, nope,
Best girl.
didn't see any.
Yeah, for sure,
Best girl,
for sure.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean Yukina is a strong second
A
runner-up.
strong second.
They just showed more of Aura than Yukina.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. I mean, they try to set Yukina up. Didn't they try to do a scene where they try to set up like a scene where Kenshi had to like get with Yukina because it looked like he was trying to get or trying to lay with her or something like that.
Oh, you mean where he visits her hut when he's running away from the students?
Was oh no no. Wasn't that how did I forget this? Yeah, when he was running away from these students, Yukina's trying like her best to try to figure out how to
Help
get
Kenshi.
yeah, how to help Kenshi
And
or whatever.
he like basically doesn't need it.
Yeah, he's just like she's like, "Oh, look, I have this exit for you." He just runs right past it or something like that. Like he doesn't even see it. But I mean, yeah, he doesn't need the help at all. He's like he has endless stamina.
Yeah. And towards the end of this episode, well, actually, before that, one of the more important things, more important than the plot, is the real plot, where he gets his reward from, what was she, a queen or something like that? She was the aunt to Lashara, the mother of Maria.
Uh
I
I don't
forget her
recall her.
name.
I don't recall her at all.
But anyways, they Lashara and her cousin Maria, they used the whistle that Mizaya used on Kenshi to hypnotize him to do the
No, no, no,
massage.
no, no. We will not talk about that because that also goes into the
You
uh
gotta see it to
into
believe
the
it.
yeah, into the spoilers, so we will not
You're
talk
gonna have to
about that.
bleep that out because I said it.
No, no, I don't. We didn't get too much into it, but we will not talk about that because
It is sacred,
it is
sacred to the plot.
reserved.
It is
It is
plot.
reserved for people that will watch the
All
anime.
right, the fair play. And all right, so aside from that, this is where they actually start to show bad guys doing bad things.
Which I don't.
Dagmire.
We could literally skip like the next 4 episodes
Yeah, it
because
doesn't matter
I
just
could care less.
Dagmire strikes a deal with the bandits. They
Oh
try to
yeah,
steal some people, Ceres's waifu, which is one of the male Sekishis. Whatever. Okay,
the
doesn't matter too
plot.
much.
This is the episode where you get plot. Oh, plot. Oh my gosh.
So episode 7, bandits train the school and steal stuff. That's it.
Episode 8, bandits do bad things. Episode 9, bandits do bad things.
Oh wait, episode 7 was the race where Kenshi has to
Oh, the elf race,
yeah,
right?
the elf race, and this is the
Oh
one
my,
where Lashara's trying to stack the books against him, telling him to do a bunch of dumb
no, no, no,
stuff.
no, no. She's trying to stack the books in his favor because she knows he's gonna win.
Well, she wants him to fail so she can get the money, because
Oh wait,
everybody's voting for
is
Kenshi.
this? Wait, this is a totally different race I'm thinking about, right? This
Yeah,
is not
there's
the elf.
3 races.
Oh my god, so many races.
I
Okay,
know.
I know which one you're talking about. This is the race where he like stops at like a pool with aura, right?
This is the one where he starts to count at 10,000 at the start of the race going
Oh
before
yeah.
anybody else. And
Okay, gotcha,
and he has
gotcha,
like this
gotcha.
20,000 pound kilo thing suction to his butt. And Luffy's like, "What the hell are you doing? You gotta go. There's no other rules." And then they like tell him to go a different direction than he's supposed to, and they fight to get him back in the same path. And he manages, of course, to win through
Of course.
no shenanigans, just natural ability.
I mean, putting like a weight behind him. That's basically like nothing. That's like putting a piece of feather in his pocket.
No kidding.
um, and then I don't recall that race too much. I just recall the probably I guess it was the second race, which I don't even recall that much of it. I just remember it was just
The
him
last one,
and Aura, and then the last race I recall really well because it was one of my favorite races.
right?
I I feel like we shouldn't talk about that race either. I feel like that is
Nah,
should be reserved for the people that watch the anime because that race was amazing.
it was.
And um you know why I think that race is so amazing? I don't want to spoil it, but the reason it's so amazing is not shown through Kenshi's viewpoint, it's shown through a third party viewpoint, which is different from the other two races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Uh what happens after that? I don't recall.
so this is where it starts to get less fun and less enjoyable.
Because they give you story and plot.
Yeah, story.
Man.
So bandits attack the sanctuary. They try to steal Aura. She gets in her weak period at that time, where she's vulnerable, and Kenshi saves her.
Right. Right.
Everybody gets evacuated from the school or wherever they are,
Right.
and
Was
Kenshi
this
finally boards the
before or
robot.
after? Was this before or after Kenshi transformed? Like he gets into the egg.
He gets into the egg at the end.
Okay, gotcha. So this is episode what, 8 or 9?
8.
8, and then what happens in 9? It's
Uh,
just more bad
They
people do
fall out
bad
of the
things.
siege. They evacuated. Everybody's traumatized by Kenshi's wild piloting skills, ripping people's arms off, and all the girls want to marry him.
Of course. Oh wait. Is this the episode with the train battle?
That was the train battle. Yeah, it was.
Okay, I want to talk about this for, like real briefly. Like
Has some
it was
strong
like
Power Ranger vibes.
oh yeah, it's basically this huge giant floating tower that's trying to invade the Holy Land, and then this train is like battling it off, and these crazy cannons are coming out of this train, and then at the end of this episode, one of the carts detaches, and it turns into this giant rail cannon, and I'm like, what is going on? Well, this is ridiculous,
That
but
looked like something
also
from
very
World War
cool.
II, but mythical.
Like, This, if there was something like this in World War II, we would remember it because this thing was dope.
It was
I
better than
like
the Seikishins, that's for sure. I didn't
oh
really care
yeah.
for the Seikishins at all.
Yeah, I like the concept of it. I like how everyone had a unique
For the
mech
most
just for
part,
them.
just the main characters. Everybody else had kind of a generic colored one.
I mean that makes sense, right? Because you can't give everyone like a super unique design
No,
because
I guess it showed who was the cream of the crop, who had the best genes, I guess.
I wouldn't even say that. I think it was just more like an animation thing. Like I think that's the reason
That's
that's the
fair to
reason
say.
they yeah, why they always draw like the main character sitting in the back of the classroom next to the window because it's easy to draw.
Oh, I
If you gave
never realized that was the reason. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why they gave like a lot of these, these other characters like generic robot design because it's very hard to give each person like a very crazy, unique design, especially when you're drawing it in 2D and not animated. Like that's the reason why like in Gundam you see so many like 3D animations now and how each mech can look wildly different from one another. It's because they don't have to draw them. They don't have to draw them, running very smoothly or anything like that. So I mean, if they had like the budget for them, I think every character would have like really cool character robot designs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I believe episode uh train is shown. Yeah, that was episode 8
nine.
that the train is shown actually.
Okay, eight, and
And then
then
9
nine.
is the fallout. Kaya tries to kill Kenshi. The
Wait. Why does Kai try to kill Kenshi?
because she has the hots for Dagmire and
Dog.
he
Oh God, that's
yeah,
right. That's
fuck
right.
that guy, dude, for real. I hate him so much. And he
I
manipulates
could
her,
care
but
less
she
about
can't do
Kaya
it.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
actually,
after episode 9. No, no thanks,
yeah.
dude. And
I
then
don't know. I don't know what Kaya sees in Dogma. He's such a flaccid character. If I would have to give him a term.
yeah, it's like great value Joffrey from Game of Thrones. uh,
He's like the great value of great value.
right.
He's
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 awful.
so boring. Like I mean, they give you a bunch of bad guys in your show, right? There's more than one bad guy, so it's not just Dogmeyer but he's just like whenever they show him, he's just like, oh, he's like that guy like in the back in the street corners, like, hey man, you want to buy some drugs? He's just like low down. He's just scheming
I
in the
wouldn't say that.
background. And you know what's funny is that it like throughout this whole anime, he's trying to set up the scheme, right? Kenshi tears his whole scheme apart in like one episode. Like he destroys all the people he's made deals with and everything. Like in one episode, it's gone. I'm like, what's even the point, man? I know you're trying to fill a plot, but I don't want the plot. I just want more slice of life.
Yeah, they really rammed down. I wish they sprinkled more plot earlier in the show. Then I would have probably cared about it more. But at this point, the damage was done. I only wanted to see more slice of life.
Exactly. I
Yep.
mean, it's so rare for an anime just to be like, shonen. Why are you putting shonen in like? I just want the slice of life. Like, how often do you hear that in an anime? You know what I mean?
This is my first time for sure.
Right. I remember when you were first talking about it, I was like, what? You the shonen, like you love shonen stuff. What are you talking about?
It just wasn't as good as
Yeah, it's just
the
I
better,
it look the shonen stuff was like maybe a 6, maybe a 7. The slice of life stuff, pure 10,
for
and it only
sure.
gets better. It gets better over time. It's like
Yep.
fine wine.
And episode 9 was actually, I believe, the third race,
The third race.
which we
Okay,
won't
that we won't.
mention.
We will not talk about. We will not talk about the third race. Because that is going to be reserved for people that won't. Because that race was amazing.
It
Okay,
was, and
it was
also
short, sweet.
that's where the Gaia shield is revealed, the for the Black Seikichin for Doll.
Okay, God. I mean, I
It
don't
doesn't
even
matter.
remember it. I don't care,
It's just a
dude. That
shield that eats
race.
stuff. They didn't really mention why it's important. It's an old ass shield that's super hard to pierce.
Look, that like the race for that episode was like what 10 minutes max, right?
Hmm.
Through that 40-minute episode. That's all I remember. That episode is that 10-minute part. That race. That race was amazing.
Okay, and I might have been misremembering about where they evacuate people. Episode 10 is actually where they evacuate people. Uh,
Oh,
yeah. The
And then I don't
bandits
even remember
shoot.
evacuating them.
It was really quick. It doesn't. They left the school. The place was taken over by the bandits.
Oh, did everyone leave in their nice shiny floating islands?
They left in the
Oh no
train.
no. Yeah. Wait, the train. I thought everyone loaded onto Lashara's ship.
No, they were on the train, and
Okay,
then
gotcha.
yeah. So they. This is the episode where they shoot down the red-haired girl in her ship. She
Hmm.
works for the church, and for some reason I didn't understand when I first saw this. When Kenshi, after Kenshi rescues her, she comes to. She like pinches his cheek really hard for a super long time for no reason. And then
Okay.
when she gets up, she like steps on his foot extra hard for no reason. To me, I was like, what
Who
the?
does this? Kaya? Kaya,
No,
the
it's not.
person that tried to kill him?
No, no, no. It's not Kaya. It's the. Al. Do you want me to spoil it right now? Who this character is?
Is it? Are we talking about the OVA or are we talking about the same anime?
This is the same anime
Why is it a spoiler? What is it
because
that
it's
important?
a identity of a different character.
Oh. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember her. That she was like
It
in what?
really didn't matter. So she was the masked, one of the masked thieves wearing the white mask earlier in the show, and it also
Right.
turns out for she is the, I believe, the other artificial human because they mentioned there were three, and she's Light
They.
Sensei.
It was so random.
Yeah,
It
it
was.
really was super shoehorned. She shares a body with Light, and they take turns, I guess.
Well, wait. Are you talking about Ulite or Messiah?
I'm talking about Light. Messiah is the same
Well,
person as
wait.
Doll.
I thought Ulite was the male teacher,
Yep, that's right.
but he's also a
Right.
different female character, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's some weird. The baby lost something in the womb, and the other one ate the other one in a crystal.
okay, sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
it doesn't. It literally doesn't matter. They only mentioned it once at the end of the series. It wasn't even shocking. I was like, okay, it happened.
Right.
Because
It's so weird that this anime just has parts that make no sense,
it
but it's still so
doesn't,
good.
dude. It doesn't at all.
Yeah.
Then that's where the second half of that episode. Do you remember the big meteor drop?
I
It was just
think
a
so.
big floating tower that the top of it reached above the, what was the white stuff called that the energy aura or
Um,
something like that.
the
The
now
aho,
the
the
only
aho. It was called the aho. Aho, like isn't that a word for stupid or something like that? Aho energy.
yeah yeah
I might be misremembering the way the word's spelled, but anyways, the meteor drop is on four little Aho islands, and uh, Sekijins can't really reach it. That's
right
why it's so
because if they
deadly.
leave the field, they turn back into their
Exactly.
primitive form, right? Right.
Right. And
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Yukina just shoots it down. She flies in from elsewhere. Cool. She has the best
Right.
Sekijin for sure, by the way. Best design.
Oh,
Uh,
does she? I don't recall.
it looked like a moth. It was really cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Legit.
they showed it twice. That's it. Or three times maybe. Then also, this is the episode where Kenshi decides to be his own country on the Swan
Okay, gotcha.
because they fight for who has the rights to him, who summoned him. But since he wasn't never summoned, they don't know who did.
Okay, gotcha. So
He's his own.
he live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's his own country.
So he can't be sold off to Steed as Lashar probably wanted to. But lol.
Dude, you know what makes this better is I can just picture Lachar be like extra salted because he just commandeered her ship as
Well,
his own nation.
she was actually happy about it because she didn't want to lose him. This is like the first part where they show she has feelings for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
This was
they just.
something
I
he
feel like
thought
that
up
was
of.
that. I feel like that feeling was kind of shoehorned in there because mostly she was just using him for money
For
until
sure.
I guess until that part, right?
Yep. I would
Hmm.
agree with that statement.
Yeah.
And so, whatever, episode happens. Episode
Right.
11 is just, this is where they find Saris, because back when the Pillow episode, Saris runs off with his waifu, and they're on a farm. Uh,
Wait. And Ceres was basically
one of the male
another male.
Seikishins.
Yeah, he's another male character,
Correct.
and that that actually befriends Kenji. So it's he's very minor. He's in
Yeah,
like 2 episodes before this. So um, like Kenshi meets him when they were doing like the sword practicing whatever,
yeah. He
and
doesn't
then
take part in it. They just bring him along for whatever reason.
yeah. So in episode 6, you find out that he has like a girl that he wants to date or something, but she's not a pilot, and I guess that's kind of like a no-no in the world
It's
where
a
pilots
waste
need them.
of Seikishi.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Yeah. Uh,
Right.
so bad guys find him. What was the name of the bad guy? Babaloon or something like that? Babaloon.
I could care less
It
about the
doesn't
bad
matter.
guys.
Babaloon is
Like
like super minor.
when when you have Kenshi as the protagonist, like I don't care about the bad guys. They're just
Well,
it.
the thing is, like, they didn't build up the bad guys. They built up Dagmire for whatever fucking reason, and he wasn't even the main bad guy. It doesn't fucking make sense.
It doesn't matter at all.
No, it
Like
doesn't.
like these bad guys are like they're like Team Rocket almost. They're one and done. They're like they show up,
Yeah.
have their 2 minutes of fame, and then they're kicked out. Okay, we're done with them. Bye.
And after this, I would say the series just they throw stuff at you. It doesn't make too much sense. Um,
Not at all.
they
It
so
just
they get Ceres to do like a suicide vest against Kenshi. It fails, of course, through the
of
power of friendship
course.
and plot. And I guess because he's a
you,
legendary Seikishi. And
you know. I bet you if that vest went off, he he probably would have dodged all the shrapnel,
I'm sure
and then he would have jumped into the he would have jumped into the blast, saved what's his name, and then got out.
he just
all
redirected the blast.
he would what?
He redirected the blast, is what happened.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and that's where he goes berserk again for the second time. But in control, half of his robot turns black and traumatizes the fuck out of everybody he's
Is
fighting.
it black or is it stone? I know
No,
like when
when when the Seikishin's being used, it turns to like stone. It disintegrates. But when he goes evil, he goes half black, I guess.
is it evil or is it like or is he
Angry,
just like
in a
angry?
bad state of mind, I suppose. Because it's
I
a
guess.
thing of the prophecy where the good can go black and the black can go white. There's some stupid stuff that doesn't matter because they didn't really
Right.
build it up.
Right. Gotcha. All right.
So
So after that, big fight happens, right? And then it just randomly ends.
no, they visit Kaya's dad's place, and that's where they find out about the history of the previous civilization. They finally say it
Ah,
now instead of in episode 3 or episode 4, where it would have made more sense.
right.
Honestly, I was like, why did I find out about at the end and not at the beginning? And then they could have
What?
mentioned the stuff about the dolls at this ep instead.
What does a lot of stuff happen in
Yeah,
this anime?
this is where they mentioned core crystals. Uh, just core crystals are basically the memory imprint of a previous Seikishin, but for some reason only the fighting data carried over, and that's for the
why, why
artificial humans.
why would you need to know that at the end of the
I
anime?
don't know, dude. I
It's
fucking hate that. I
it's like
this is
I guess they're
like I
trying to
already
set it
sound
up for like a second
deflated.
season. Oh, what was that?
I already sound deflated because we already stopped talking about the good stuff. It's just random story they tossed in at the end. I don't know why they
Right.
did that. They ruined a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
They ruined a 10 out of 10 with shonen.
Oh my god, yeah they did. So yeah, that's really it. He gets a new model of Sekishin that's able to work outside of the energy field for a few minutes, which is a super upgrade. And episode 12 is where they do the mountain sword compression.
Oh yeah, and then episode 13, final fight, and then
The
it
final
just
fight was stupid. He just big swords the enemy. Babaloon for some reason is able to teleport. What? And he's a black demon. Maybe they showed that in the original Tenchi Muyo shows. I don't know.
we don't know. We don't care. We don't want to talk about this shonen stuff. Get this stuff
Not
out
at
of my.
all. Yeah,
Like okay, like okay, yeah, we've been downplaying this like this whole half of this anime, but I mean it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just that we want to talk about the 10 out of 10, not the 7 out of 10, guys.
it would have been better if they changed the flow of the story. That's my only gripe. The flow of the story sucked. Everything else was cool. The fights weren't bad, well choreographed. The mechs design not super inspiring, but they're elegant.
Do you think that if we went back and watched like the original 1990s show of Tenchi Muyo, and then went back to watch this again, you think we would enjoy it more because we'd have more background?
I mean, I think I got enough background from that OVA. I don't know who any of the characters were aside from Kenshi. Yeah, I'd assume, yeah, this is more for like a fan of the show. It's a spin-off, right? It's done as like a labor of
But
love.
it's still like very good anime, even if you don't know
It's
it. That's
watchable
that's
on
why
its
I
own.
liked it so.
I think
Yeah,
I think you could watch it on its own, then go back and watch the old stuff. You don't really have to watch the original show. You're just gonna miss, small plot stuff.
that doesn't matter. You're not gonna care about the
For
shonen
real.
stuff. I want to meet that one person that's like, have you seen Tenchi Muyo? They have the best shonen. Slice of life stuff. Yeah, it was man, but oh man, that those fight scenes. Oh, they were so good. I just want to meet that one person that's
I don't
like,
even know if they had these robots in the original show.
I don't know a damn thing about the original show. I've never watched anything Tenchi Muyo besides this anime.
I bet if I watched the original one, my rating would be higher.
Uh, that's my thought process too. I mean, give it a year and you'll forget all the shonen stuff, and maybe your rating will just be higher just because you'll
8.2 out of 10, just by
like
forgetting.
every year I'm gonna go back and ask you. So what's your rating for Tenchi Muyo? And it's just gonna go up by like half a point every year.
For real. I think that too.
It's so possible, right?
Beer goggles for Tenchi Muyo and Geminar incoming.
Right. Okay, I think we've talked about this anime for enough. Anything else you want to talk about besides
No,
this?
I said my piece.
All right, great. I hope you guys definitely give this anime a try. But besides that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.